everyone, very welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun in the kitchen. I'm going to make a layered oven bake dish for you, and we're going to discuss all the components that's going to go into it. So I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I do. So let's have a look at the different ingredients you're going to be needing for this. Let's start with the aubergines. These guys, I have sliced them, I treated them with salt. I've washed them after that, then I brushed them lightly with oil and I grilled them in the oven so they are cooked and they are nice and soft and pliable. Then I also made some bechamel sauce, some white sauce, and the recipe will be in the description. It's also featured in the protein wraps video, so you will have seen that before. So that's 2 cups of white sauce in there. Then for our topping, right at the end, you're going to need some grated mozzarella cheese, some eggs, and some yogurt, a full tub of yogurt. Then what I've done, I've just cooked a little bit of mince off, and I've literally just cooked that in a pan without any oil. And the next ingredient I've got here, let me show you, is some cooked peppers with a little bit of tomato and tomato puree and some garlic, and it's just really nicely seasoned and well cooked. Then we have another ingredient here. If you wanted, you could put a bit of lutenica through your mince if you think it might be a little bit dry, but you don't have to. And this lutenica is also one of our videos, the canning series, so you can have a look and find the recipe for that, or you can just buy some. And then I've got a little bit of salsa here. This one is from last year, and you can use a little bit of salsa instead of lutenica if you don't have any lutenica. And the other thing here is our super greens. This is also one of my previous videos for canning, and we're going to do 1 layer of super greens. So let's get started. Let me show you. So we're going to start off with an oven dish. I have got a little bit of oil and a brush here, so we'll just give that a little brush. So for 6 people, I've only used the daily allowance of the olive oil, which is 1 tablespoon of olive oil, cooking all these different ingredients. So we are staying within our limit for the fat. Then I'm going to have a tiny bit of bechamel in the bottom here. Here we go. There we go, just a layer. Now we're going to add some of our aubergines. So you just put a layer of them on top of the sauce. Now this dish, I'm not too sure what to call it because it's somewhere between a moussaka and a lasagna. So maybe you guys can come up with an interesting name for it. So the next layer, what I'm thinking to do is we open our jar of super greens. Oh, this one is still sealed, properly sealed, which is a good thing. Now I'm just going to use it out of the jar at that temperature. Spoon it on top of my eggplant here, and I'm going to finish the whole jar on here so it's a nice layer of spinach. Now if you've not seen my super greens video, basically in this little jar we have some spinach, we have mangold, we have beetroot leaves, we have sorrel, and we have green kale, and it's all mixed with a tiny bit of onion, and it's all well seasoned. So the white sauce, the bechamel in the bottom has been seasoned. The super greens here is seasoned as well. So it will be layers and layers of tastiness. It should definitely be very exciting, shouldn't be boring. Now the next layer that we're going to do on here is another layer of our aubergines. So we'll put them on here. I've sliced my aubergines a little bit thinner than usual because I feel that they cook a little bit quicker that way. So I've started off with 1/2 centimeter slices. But all the details will be in the recipe description. Here we go. So now the next layer, I've decided we're going to put the mince in next, so that will be in the middle of our dish. So I'll bring the mince over here. Now if you think it looks a little bit dry because it's literally just a bit of mince, I would add a little bit of salsa or a little bit of lutenica, but not too much. You could, of course, just add a little bit of tomato ketchup. I mean, sugar-free tomato ketchup is also available these days. And the mince has cooled off slightly now, but when it's warm, it looks a little bit different. But we can put a little bit more sauce in. Here we go. So now I'm going to spoon my mince layer on top. So with the salsa that's now through the mince, that's already seasoning the mince as well. So that should be very tasty. So a bit of improvised cooking here if you like. If you don't have all the ingredients, again, you can improvise a bit. If you've got a little leftover stir fry in your fridge or a bit of creamed spinach in your fridge, you can of course use that. I'm going to just finish all this mince in here. There we go. And try to make your levels layered, quite level. Here we go. So now before I put the next layer on, I'm going to put a little bit of our bechamel sauce on top here. Here we go. Just make sure you keep a little bit for on top. There we are. Spread that over. And now we are going to do one more layer of our aubergines. So let's see here. There we go. Every little bit will get used, nothing will get wasted. There we are. There we are. And now for our final layer, I'm going to add our tomato and pepper mixture. I made a little bit extra here because I'm planning to do another dish with it, but I started off with 400 grams of peppers, 400 grams of onions, and a couple of chopped tomatoes with a bit of tomato puree and garlic. So we're going to just do a nice layer on top here, not too thick. Going to spread that out in a minute. You'll see my peppers are quite chunky. You can of course cut them a little bit finer, and you can even blend it so it becomes more of a sauce. Here we go. I think that looks absolutely delicious. In this dish you get so many veggies, which is lovely, really healthy. Very, very little fat in there. Okay, so now we've reached the top of our dish here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just finish this off with a tiny bit of bechamel. And this is now going to bake in the oven. I preheated the oven to 190 degrees. So we'll put this in for 45 minutes. And then we're going to top it with a special topping with the yogurt and the cheese and the eggs. And then we're going to put it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. So here we are. This will now go in the oven, and we'll show you what it looks like when it is been in the oven for 45 minutes. Hi there, welcome. We are now almost ready to take our dish out of the oven. It's got a couple of minutes left, so I'll show you quickly the topping that we're going to put on. Now this is completely optional, but I've learned this topping in Bulgaria here, and I've seen it in Greece as well, and it is absolutely delicious. So here we go. To make it extra special, you're going to need 200 grams of yogurt, then you're going to need 2 eggs, and you're going to need 100 grams of grated cheese. Now if you can find fat-free mozzarella or 3% fat mozzarella, that would be good. And or if you can find other types of cheese low in fat, that's also fine. So we'll just crack our eggs here. Here we go, lovely eggs from our backyard chickens. There we go. I'm going to just whisk the egg a little bit in this dish. And we're going to add it to the yogurt. There we go. You don't need to beat it a lot. It's just basically to mix it well. And our oven timer will go off any minute. So the timing should be good. Now I'm just going to stir the cheese through here. Now I personally would maybe add a little bit of mustard here, teaspoon of mustard, but we'll just leave that plain for now. So it will go back into the oven for about 10 minutes or until the topping has turned a little bit brown. So let's see if our oven is ready. Let's see, about 1 minute to go. Let's have a look here. Oh, that looks good. I'm just going to pull that out. You can have a look to see how much moisture is in there. If you think there's too much moisture, you can remove some of it. So I'm going to spoon our topping on top here. So there's our timer. There we go. Perfect. Just the right amount. Make sure you cover the whole dish with it. There we are. So another 10-15 minutes and we'll come back to this. So now it's been in the oven another 15 minutes and you see it's a beautiful golden color on top, and that should be ready now. So we'll take that out and then we're going to just leave it aside to cool off slightly. I'll put that on a wooden board. Here we go. So here is our oven dish. You can see it's really juicy. It's definitely not going to be dry. Now, what a lot of us do, we think we should eat it straight out of the oven. But I've actually been taught now that when you have a moussaka or a lasagna or something like this, you should really leave it for maybe half an hour to cool off a bit. And then the flavor is actually a lot better, because when it is so super hot out of the oven, you can't really taste anything. So we're going to leave this to cool off a bit. If you wanted at this point, you could sprinkle some nice herbs on top. And then we'll just plate that up so you can see what it looks like. So this has now been cooling off for 20 minutes. So it looks amazing and we cannot wait to start eating it. So I'm going to divide this up now into 6 portions. So I'm going to cut it across here. I've just literally sprinkled a bit of parsley on top. I think that's going to be amazing, amazing. So then we'll divide this into 3 bits. Now it's always kind of difficult getting the first portion out, but I'm sure you will all bear with me here. So hopefully we're going to see some layers here, because that was the whole point of the exercise. It was supposed to be a bit of fun, but at the end of the day, I do like different layers. So let's see here. It doesn't stick, but I'm just making sure before we start dishing up here. Okay, now let's have a look. Let's have a look. There we go. You see the spinach, you see the mince in there, the topping on top. Here we go. Unfortunately, the layers are not all that clear. A little bit in here. Let's do one more. You can see in here it looks absolutely amazing. I wish you could smell this now. Here we go. So it does stay together pretty well, I must say. Let's have a look here at this one. So how I would serve this, I would just put a little side salad. So I've got some lovely fresh sorrel here from the garden. Put some sorrel leaves here. I've got a little piece of parsley. There we go. Do a couple of bits of tomato. But you can serve it with anything you like. I personally think a little salad is always best. Something like this. There we go. I've got some lovely sage leaves here as well, fresh sage. We can put them the front here maybe. There we go. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. I wanted to show you all the different things you could do with the things we have made so far in some of our videos. And I think we've managed to create something tasty over here. So I'll just let you have a look there. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you've learned something and got some inspiration to make your family something special. I know it seems a little bit time consuming to make a dish like this, but what you can do is do a couple of the elements the day before and then just put it together the next day. So I hope you're going to have a go at this and try it. And please let me know what you would call this dish. I'm very interested to know that. Please leave us a little comment. Please remember to like and share the video, and if you haven't subscribed, please do, and don't forget to hit that little bell button to be notified. Until next time, bye bye.